Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the workpiece into the vise and get the zeros set for the X and Y and the Z. So make sure whenever you're tightening this vise, I like to put pressure downwards while I squeeze it to make sure that it doesn't move. Tighten your hand tight with that, and then finish this way. There's a little ball at the bottom you might have to hold if it's being a pain in the butt. Give it a little tug, make sure it doesn't move. If it does move, take it out of the vise and retighten. Next, I'm going to load the edge finder in. There's going to be 3 holes on the actual spindle. The middle hole is where you will insert your Allen key. Loosen it, slide this in, leave a good chunk of it out, but you want to make sure that it ain't going to go nowhere whenever it starts spinning. So make it tight, give a little tug, make sure it doesn't move. Once you have that all set, make sure you have your Mach 4 open. You want to go to jogging. Make sure your keyboard inputs are enabled. Should be green and should tell you to be disabled. Once you are ready to actually start moving it, have it in enable, and then you can of course move it around like that using the arrow keys and the page up and page down. In order to zero the X and Y, what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the spindle in the program, like clicking spindle clockwise, then turn it on the machine, and slowly bring it up. You don't want to go too fast, but you don't want to go slow either. Make sure that the edge finder is dislocated. Use an Allen key, do not use your finger. Now I'm going to make sure it's a decent distance away from the tool, and then I'm going to start bringing it down. You want the tip just underneath it, you don't want the whole tool to be underneath. And then I'm going to start fast moving it close. So once it gets fairly close, I'm going to degrease the jog rate to 20 or 19. And then I'm going to just slowly edge my way forward. As you keep getting closer to the actual zero, you're going to notice that it's going to look like it's not moving. When it looks like that, that is going to be your X0. But before you change anything, make sure you put -0.1 because you're accounting for the radius of the actual tool. Once you have that set, you can bring it back, increase the tool's the jog speed, and then you're going to do the Y. Make sure the wire is out of the way. This one kind of is a little funky. So again, dislocate it with the Allen key. Page down to where it's just underneath. Decrease jog rate. And then start bringing it towards it. Of course, I missed. So if you see it dislocate like that, that means you went too far. So bring it back. Hit it with the Allen key again, just so you can see that movement. And go a tiny bit slower. And now it looks like it has stopped moving. So we are going to Y0 that, and again, account for the radius of the edge finder, so -0.1. We're going to back it up, bring it up, that down a rough on me. So now what you're going to do is I'm just moving it off of the edge of the part so that I can take out the edge finder. I'm going to turn off the spindle, decrease it back down, turn it off in the program and disable. Then again, find the middle hole, put the Allen key in. Make sure you're holding the edge finder while you're doing this, you don't want it to fall out. Put it back into its little handy dandy case, and then insert your end mill. So this is going to be a 2-tooth end mill. You'll just notice that it says HSS. That is the correct way you want to have that HSS pointing downwards. You want it to spin clockwise, so you could either look at that HSS to make sure, or you could just spin it like how I am right now to see how it's turning. You want that screw to go right where this little notch is. That way it doesn't move up and down while it's cutting. So I'm going to insert it. And then tighten. Make sure it doesn't move at all. Once you have that set, put this measuring block on. So it's a 1 inch by 2 inch by 3 inch. So this is going to offset it by 1. We're going to do similar to how you've done in manufacturing processes 1. We're going to move it close. We're not going to set the tool directly above it because we're going to wiggle it back and forth like in manufacturing processes 1. And once you get to a depth where you need to slow down, of course decrease the jog rate and tap it until you hit the tool. So now I'm starting to hit, so I'm going to go up a hair. I'm missing. And I'm hitting again. So I'm going to Z0 it, remove the block, and unlike before, we are not going to account for the block just yet. That is because we're first going to do a dry run of your G code. So I always recommend to have your G code on your actual desktop. So we'll go to File, Ops, load G code. Might take a hot second. We'll go to Desktop and look for .txt files, and we'll open. And then you'll see in the G-code tab your G-code file will pull up. If you notice anything that looks wrong or you want to change, you can change it in the actual Mach 4. So I'm going to do Edit G-code. And then I don't like this X0, Y0, and Z2 to be all together. So I'm going to put those down here. I put Z2. And then once you have that, you can save it. And then when you exit, you'll notice it changes right here. Once you have that all set, you can start to cycle your G-code. If you want, you can turn on the spindle beforehand. Just make sure that the machine says on and that your spindle speed is set at 3,200 RPM. This machine maxes out at 2,000, so just turn it all the way till F for fast. And you could turn on the spindle now, or you could wait. I'm going to wait because I have my G code set right here with the M03. If you would like to double check that your X0, Y0s are all correct before you do your dry run, go into MDI, do G90, G70, X0, Y0. I'm not going to worry about the Z because it is currently at 1 inch above. So we're going to hit cycle start, MDI. Machine should move, and that looks just about right. If you notice any discrepancies, of course, you have to go back and zero your X and Y again. But since that looks good, I'm going to tell the machine it can start. So while you have it started, make sure you have your thumb on the emergency stop in case you notice anything going awry. But if you have no issues, you should be fine. So we're going to hit cycle start G-code. I'm going to have my thumb on the emergency stop, and I'm going to watch it the whole time it runs. Alright, once the spindle is stopped and it all looks fine, you'll notice that it's at 002 based off of where I have my origin at. If the dry run looks all good, you're good to change this value to 3, so that would account for the measuring block we had earlier. And then cycle start G-code and make sure that your thumb is on the E-stop in case anything goes awry. Once it has come to a complete stop, turn off the spindle and decrease the speed all the way. Hit the E-stop, turn off the box in the back, and then you can start cleaning. But that's it.